Okay, good afternoon everyone. I'm Sandy from Yuying Elementary School, and our school is located in Danshui, which is very close to Taipei. And it was a remote school last year, but this year our school is not a remote school anymore. So I was very lucky to be in the project. Okay. And there are 10 classes in my school, and I teach fifth graders, and they are the only fifth graders in our school. And there are 22 students in my class, 9 boys and 13 girls, and 2 indigenous students, and 2 students with special needs. And they are new to me, and I teach them. I'm a homeroom teacher, so I teach them Mandarin Chinese, math, and also English. The background of my class, there's a double peaking situation. 1/3 of them who go to current school are pretty good, but 1/3 of them can't catch up and even cannot recognize the alphabet. And they are very lively and energetic. They don't like to just sit and listen. And some of them are very quarrelsome. They will be very unhappy if they lose in a game. And they don't like writing, so some of them never hand in homework, and some of them just do it roughly. So when I was in Western, I learned some strategies. I'm going to introduce you this one. It's called sentence pattern chart. The sentence pattern chart is one of the GLAD strategy. It's a method for exposing learners to English language structures while teaching contents. Introduce a column at a time. Students sit close to the chart and popcorn out as many words as possible. And practice as a color reading or echo reading. When the chart is filled, create a sentence and chant or sing it with any tone you want. Okay. So this is what we have done. The teacher demonstrated how she used the chart. And we are learning the word immigrants.
It's so different in France. It's so different in France. It's so different. Immigrants start to dance.
Okay. And my adoption is that when they are learning present progressive sentence pattern. So after I teach them the sentence pattern, I decided that they can learn more. So I add prepositional phrases, places to make it more difficult. And I designed an activity after they've learned the structure to reinforce their understanding. So that's a game. Name. Okay, some students become very active when they started to perform out the words, especially for the category of places. And I think it's a good way to increase their inputs of vocabulary. Okay, there are 22 students in my class, and I think it would work better if students could sit closer to the charts. And next, I'm going to talk about the inquiry project. Okay, in my class, there are very low motivation, so I'm wondering how can I engage and motivate both the stronger students and the weaker students in the same lesson? And how can I design listening and speaking practices for all students without using competitions? And how can I improve the class atmosphere to make it more cooperative and supportive? Okay. And so I try my implementation is I teach English in English, and I use pictures and body language to make them understand. And I use hierarchy questions when I introduce new vocabularies to to provide comprehensible inputs and slowly support students' production. For example, when I teach them drinks, I say, is this lemonade or juice? They'll say lemonade. Is it juice or Coke? They'll say juice. To make them understand. And I'll tell them a story in English. When I start a new lesson, every time I start a new lesson, which is related to the textbook. And I also design games and activities with little competition. And I also use T-Graph for social skills to teach them how to cooperate with each other. And I also use cooperative learning in both Mandarin Chinese and math class. Okay, and the result I found is that their listening ability improved a lot. So the students performed pretty well in the listening comprehension part in English midterm exam. 12 students got full scores in this part. And everyone, for part 2 and part 3, everyone answered correctly, especially for the 2 learners with special needs. And some of the groups, they tried to cooperate with each other better and have good atmosphere of discussion. About cloud lessons, Marianne and I decided that we're going to do festival and food for more cultural experience. So these are all our topics. We do Moon Festival, Double Tent, Halloween, American food, and Thanksgiving, and Taiwanese food, and also Christmas. While she was here. Okay. And the method we use in our core lessons, we use realia, because Marianne found that they will be very excited when they see Marianne show something from, on the screen. So she showed them postcards and mooncake. She even bought the mooncake from Chinatown. She drove 2 hours away from her home to get the mooncake. And she also made grapefruit hats. We have pomelo hats, but they don't have pomelo there, so she used grapefruit to make a hat for her dogs. Yeah, and the kids love that. And we use a lot of songs and chants in our lessons. And also we design dialogues and role play for students, and lots of repetitions too. And we also adopt a lot of videos and pictures in the lesson. And some videos and pictures are taken by Marianne to show for example, the Thanksgiving she celebrates with her friends, and also videos of her hometown. And I also collect pictures from provided by students' parents. For example, on Moon Festival, I asked the parents if they can send pictures of their family activities, and I put that in the PowerPoint, and the kids love that. And other resources, we also use other resources from internet, and we also do add puzzles and also games. Okay, and Marianne and I meet online every Sunday morning to discuss our lesson. Okay, this is one of the lessons we made. It's about American food. I'm going to show you the PowerPoint. Okay, we made together. We use Google Drive to co-edit it. Introduce the vocabulary, and then this is the dialogue. And then lunch, Marianne made the video.
What time is it? It's lunchtime. Oh, okay. Ooh, what are you eating? I'm eating a deli sandwich with French fries. Oh, okay.
She prepared all the food. Okay, and lunch, and then dinner, dialogue again. and then dinner, and then we play again, and then we review, and then we play again. Okay? Okay, feedback from the students. After that, I make a questionnaire for my students, and 2/3 of my students like the online lesson very much. And they score them 8 to 10, and 1/3 students feel moderate well. They score 4 to 6, and 3 students think the lessons are easy, but and 1/3 of the students think they are a little bit difficult. But most of the students think they are very difficult. They score is 10, but they still like it, even though they think it's difficult for them. And here are some reflections for the crowd lessons. The cultural differences amaze the students. They feel they are very surprised, and they like the experience that Marianne took. Like they learn a lot from the lesson, like the time difference and many things. The experience amazes the students. And the second is that I think I cannot design a lesson which suits everybody. No matter how hard Marianne and I prepare the lesson, there are always some students who are not interested in the lesson and still have very low motivation. And I think 22 students are too many for online lesson because the view of the webcam, the class size should be smaller, and it's too crowded to include all students in the camera. And I have to thank my co-partner Marianne. Without her, I cannot do it. Okay, and the general reflections for the project. I think teaching English in English is possible and can benefit students' learning, especially their listening ability. And actually, my students do not improve very obviously. Maybe not now. It might take longer to see the results. And I think the whole project is perfect. The only thing I can complain is too much homework. I have to write a feedback on Facebook every week. The curriculum and all the experience at WWU were great. I would never forget the beautiful summer in Bellingham. And I have to thank NTNU and WWU and also MOE for everything you have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. And our next lecturer is Miss Marianne Rodriguez.
That's the only Chinese I know. So sorry.
So, hello, my name is Marianne Rodriguez, and I am from, I teach English adults, so I just want to say that this is my first time teaching elementary students, and that this is my first time in Taiwan. So I will make this really quick because I'm the last one. And I want to say I was fortunate enough to only have one cloud partner while I was here. So I was able to spend a whole week with Sandy's students. So these are her wonderful students. She has 22, and it's at Yuying Elementary School. And it is pumpkin school. And that's what she said. Yeah. Yes. So this was the day I met Sandy's 5th grade class. It was a topic about Christmas, and what we did was we went over some general words because I wanted them to do a lot more TPR, total physical response activities. So they, for 5th graders, they wrote the words that I had over the slides. There were words and phrases. And what they did is they made a snowball from it by crumpling the paper and then throwing it all over the class. But I realized my mistake because then the class was too rowdy and we had to calm everyone down. So, next slide. That was the one time I taught English class. And then the next day we went on a field trip. This picture was taken in Longshan Temple. Can you find me in this group? It's too small, but I'm right there. They're kind of my height too. So that's me. We were just walking around, exploring the place. And then I had a lot of free time. So we went to a graduate art program where they made things that they could potentially make a business out of. These are some of our students. Do you know where I am? I'm right there. Yeah. And then every time after class, 5:30, Sandy and I would go to dinner. And then there was this one time she had a half day, and we were able to go up to Yummy Mountain, and they had an active volcano, and I was able to collect some brimstone. So that was a wonderful experience. That was my first time. More of our students, as you can tell, they're mostly girls. They really love hugging and squeezing my cheeks. It was wonderful. But I also had the opportunity to teach the third graders. When I started the program, it was a different class that Sandy had. She had second graders who are now the third graders. So I was able to meet them, and they remembered me, and I was really happy because they're like, "Oh, Teacher Marianne!" And so we did the snowball, Christmas project, and this time I made them shoot it in a basket so that it's a lot calmer. So that was that. We were doing snowman, Christmas tree, and other things. Oh, Santa Claus, just a lot of fun activities for them to be interested in English. Next one. And then I think this was my last time teaching their Sandy's 5th grade class. I was able to talk to them and make ugly sweater Christmas cookies. Yes. So these were the cookies that we made, and they looked like they had a lot of fun with that. This is Ryan, and this is Chris, and this is Tina. Tina loved hanging around me. I love her. She was amazing. So even though I only had one cloud partner, there were a lot of what Luke and Sadie called adversity that we talked about while we were eating lunch. So I had a lot of problems when I was in Sandy's class. Unfortunately, I saw a lot of bullying happening in the classroom. Not to me, I was just there observing, but to other students and to some teachers who could not control the students. Sandy could not control them, and there were times when other teachers could not control them. It was very hard, and that was my first time seeing that kind of behavior. But me and Sandy tried working a way to figure out what to do with that. And so I found I went to University of Washington, and we talked about emotional intelligence. And there's this quote that Jay Friedman said, that emotional intelligence is a way of recognizing and understanding the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act. So I wanted to implement that with, next slide, with Mark Brackett's ruler approach. This is a new approach that Yale University created from social and emotional learning. This is him, where he talks about labeling your emotions is key. If you can name it, you can tame it. And I wanted to try that. So these are the acronyms, what the acronyms stand for. Next slide. Recognizing those emotions, understanding those emotions, and trying to pinpoint what that emotion is coming from, and trying to able to express that, and then regulating it, trying to control how to make sure that we aren't affecting everyone else. So for me, he used a poster called the mood meter. which I brought here, but we don't have time. So I'm just going to show you that we use the mood meter where the yellow means happiness, joy, but there are varying degrees. The red means angry, and the deeper you go to the red, the angrier you are. Blue means sadness, and then green means calm down. So you're calm. So there are varying degrees in these 4 quadrants. Because we have so many emotions and because we can't describe them all, we can use this chart to see where we can pinpoint our emotions. So why is this important? The reason why this is important is because some children still cannot control their emotions. Some children don't know how to cope with those skills that they can have as they're children, or they're not even learning it from their parents, who no one has taught them yet. So I believe that when we can teach kids how to control their own emotions and put it in a more positive direction, I believe that we can have a better impact in the classroom. For example, red can be angry, but it can also mean passion. It can also mean that you can be a leader and you can lead your classroom or yourself into a better state, joy, into a better state, calm. So it's focusing and teaching them how to go from a negative perspective or negative emotion to a more positive one. So when we did this, everyone actually did it. A lot of Sandy students put it on the red. Red means yellow anger. Some people just felt calm and kind of tired maybe. You can use this as a teamwork thing where you can label your varying degrees in English or in Chinese. This is an example that I got from Google where it could go from just, feeling annoyed to feeling enraged, ashamed, to feeling alone, depressed. You might need to talk to someone. Feeling thankful, like how I feel right now. Feeling serene, very calm, and of course pleasant to really, really joyful. So I noticed that there is a lot of adversity in Sandy's classroom, but I also noticed that other students who are witnessing all this can build resiliency. They can build a way where they can find strength in a place where it's hostile and it's negative. So a lot of these girls tend to work together to make sure that no one else is bullying them, and I've seen that. And I want to show that, look how separated they are. I want to show that this is just a phase. They're still children, they're still growing to become adults. And we want to make sure that we can still, hopefully, save them in a way where they can cope with their emotions. And this quote I got from Kathy with a K when she did her presentation, and I felt like that was a wonderful quote. And so I kept that in my mind. Happy learning means good behavior. And I make sure as much as I can to make my learning, happy. So last slide, you can go over these. Thank you. Oh, I love Taiwan. This is my first time and I love it so much. So that's what I learned. And this is us when we got here at NTNU. And this is when we did the singing contest with Daniel, Lily, and Sandy, and Tara. And then this is when we went to Taipei one-on-one. And I just want to say thank you to the NTNU partners, the WW partners, cloud partners, the schools, Professor Chaolan, Kevin for setting all this up, and Mark, and especially my cloud partner, Sandy, for doing all of this and setting all of this up. Thank you, sorry.